BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to NHL and UFC. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source for every three-pointer to hat trick. BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate each and every last one of you for being in the stream. Much love, Black and Gold family. Much love. So appreciate you guys being on the stream. Hump Day edition. We up in this thing. Much love to you guys. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week in this piece. So much love. OG Jerry is in this thing. Good to see you. Nolans 504. Good to see you, fam. Appreciate you for being in this thing. Brother Nolan says, I feel like the Saints are teasing yes by looking at Sanders, but don't get me wrong. I would like for the Saints to pick him up. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Shout out to Desi. Much love to you. Appreciate you for being in the stream as well. Big ups to everybody, man. Cartel, shout out to you. Young City 9 is in this thing. Big ups to you. All right. OG says Q sounds like you and Bob Rose talk. Great minds think alike, man. You know, Bob is one of my all-time favorite Saints writers, man. You know, I've had Bob on the show several times. And like I said, he's one of these honorary great Saint think tank family member, man. So he writes a lot of terrific stuff, man. So probably going to bring Bob back sooner or later, man. But love to hear some of his thoughts. But great minds think alike, man. All right, St. Doug, shout out to you. Bullard Family Travel Vlog, big ups to you. Redeemed Sauces in this thing. He said he won't make it past 3. I hear you, brother. I've been saying that. I've said that. That's why the previous stream, I think that was the Monday installation of the show, talked about pretty much Shedeur, that the Saints would have to go up to get him because maybe I'm a little hard-headed. But I've seen a lot of stuff that happened over these drafts, and you have several QB-starved teams, hungry-ass teams looking for franchise quarterbacks. It's just hard for me to imagine that the Cleveland Browns would pass on him. You know, they need a lot of stuff, but you need a franchise quarterback, especially when the owner slam danced his franchise quarterback by calling it a swing and a miss. You know, so like I said, the Giants are up there, even though they do have Jameis on a 2-year deal, Russell Wilson on a 1-year deal. We covered all that on the previous stream. That's why I said I think they might have to go and get him, but we'll see. Shout out to brother Derek. How you doing, sir? Appreciate you for being in the stream as well. Much love to everybody, man. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream, man. What's up, brother Wallace? Big ups to you, bro. Bev, what's up, Beverly? Shout out to the queens in this thing. KB, what's popping, baby? Good to see KB in this thing as well. The queens are representing. Who Dat Daddy? Big ups to you, brother. TJ Scottzilla, much love, fam. Appreciate you as well. Happy birthday to brother Quavatus. Let's give him a round of applause, man. Brother Quavatus, happy birthday to you, brother. Happy Who Dat Day birthday to you, brother. Shout out and happy Who Dat birthday to brother Quavadius, man. Vic boy, what's happening, bro? Good to see you, man. How you been, man? Hadn't seen you around. Hope everything is good. Much love to Desi. What's up, baby? How you doing, Desi? Antoinette, all the queens representing. We up in this thing. Black Major, how you doing, sir? Brother Booker's in this thing. Jaden, shout out to you as well. All right, much love, fam. Big Velly, was popping, fam. Good to see you, man. He said he didn't get the notification. Yeah, that's on YouTube, bro. Mad Drummer, much love, man. Brian, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you for being in the stream as well. Much love, everybody. Brother Cartel says, honestly, Q, I would like for us to get Shedeur. The only thing making it difficult to believe is what if there's someone else on the board who can make an instant impact. I get you, bro. That's the crazy part about this draft, man. I have to be honest with you, fam. This draft is just unbelievable. Insofar as the uniqueness of this draft in respect to what the Saints have been doing in this offseason. Like, this is a very unique situation. A lot of people see this as a rebuild. But as you could tell, they're not taking it as such. I mean, Mickey Loomis read up with all these people. He freed up all this cap money. And you got $20-something odd million in cap money for the Saints. What is the actual figure now? 2702. You know, it's what it is, over 27 million, according to over the cap. And what it is basically the Saints have different ways they can go here. I mean, we know they use help at pretty much all positions, but with the uniqueness of having a new quarterback coming here and the fact that Mickey Loomis did not allow him to, you know, basically get from under Derek Carr, even though we know Derek Carr wants to go. You know, keeping Carr here, but giving Kellen Moore an opportunity. A lot of people that leak this, believe this, is that Loomis is giving him an opportunity where he can be able to go and get his quarterback in the draft. We know at some point the Saints are going to take a quarterback. They have not, and this is the biggest sticking point with the Saints that they have been consistent with over the many years. They have not taken a quarterback in the first round since Archie Manning. That is a long time ago. The Saints have not taken a quarterback in the first round in a very long time. Now, we've taken quarterbacks in every other round. You know, we've taken a guy in the third round for all this kind of stuff, but the first round has been a long time. And wouldn't it be a fantastic gesture if the Saints was to do this? So I think a great deal of the Who Dat Nation, even the national people, are in unison with this thought process, because for whatever reason, he's sliding. For whatever reason, and I heard Shannon Sharp talked about this, he made the points that I made, and I said what I said about the sliding. Like, how long was that ago, fam? Last week? And he said, I think early this week, when he was talking to Mel Kiper, he's like, I don't understand why he's sliding. And that's what I was saying. And Mel Kiper actually has Shedeur ranked ahead of Cam Ward. But in previous, I don't know, this year, Mel Kiper just kind of was more respectful. He didn't kind of stand on the square, so to speak, and was like, hey, man, no, I like Shedeur. He kind of backed down a little bit and allowed the conversation with Cam Ward. But I've been saying this, and I've been seeing this, is that to me, it has been Shedeur over Cam Ward. And the time when it flipped, from what I can tell, was the combine. If Shedeur would have went to the NFL combine and did all of that other stuff, he would be up here and Cam would be just below. But I'm saying they didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that he didn't want to throw there. He went there and talked to him, all that stuff, but he didn't throw until he went to his pro day. And I think they didn't like that, and they kind of slid him down a bit because outside of that, he didn't do anything off field. He didn't say anything. He didn't do anything to diminish his draft stock, and he should not be sliding. But that's the commonsensical aspect of it. The truth is, if they're foolish enough, and this is the point that I was making, if they're foolish enough to allow Shedeur Sanders to slide to the Saints at 9, I told y'all this the other show, we will tear them up because that's what you need. You need a quarter because that kid is good. That kid is good. He's a good decision maker, got ice in his blood. You know, like we played, he stood in that off and behind that shaky, rickety offensive line that they had and delivered and delivered and delivered. He had 4 years of that. That guy is a franchise quarterback, and if the Saints can go and get him, or if he slides to 9, boy, this will be the dumbest group of scouts or teams or whoever that was to let that happen. But it'd be difficult to say that he is because you got to get past 4 really hungry QBs. Teams that need franchise quarterbacks to get to the Saints. That's why I said I don't believe he slides. The Saints will have to go up and get him. All right, that's right. Quavada shot. Drinks. Homie. All right, shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you. Happy birthday. What's up, Tuck? Shout out to Tuck. Much love, brother Tron. What's happening, Tron? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you for being in the building. J-Rock, what's happening, my dog? J-Rock, Molly Mall is in this thing. Big ups to you. Redeem Saul says, is Mosley linebacker worth getting if we don't leave the draft with a linebacker? I like Mosley. A solid linebacker. It's just all a matter of cost. And at some point, you know, we're looking at the franchise quarterback. But to be honest with you, there are several, there are several positions that the Saints really need to look at in this draft. I don't know, you will be able to get everybody, but a good wise draft, you'll be able to fill some needs. We know Demario Davis is retiring. We know Cam Jordan is gone. Taysom Hill is gone. So you're going to need some players, and I know you'll mix it up between this year and next year, but if you do it just right, you can set the future here now. You really could. If you go and if you have to move around depending on what you have to do, you can land several players in this draft to appease that. We know the linebacker position they're not really talking about, so to speak, because the Saints 34 defensive look, they slid Chase and Carl Granderson to the linebackers, to outside linebackers in the 34 look. Also Isaiah Foskey slid. So at some point, you have to look at the Saints defensive, the down 3 linemen and say, who are your down 3 linemen going to be? Is Cam Jordan going to be one of those guys? And then maybe you look at in the second round, or depending on what you do with your draft selections, you might need to make a move and get some guys, because there are some good guys here. I don't think Pierce will be. I think Pierce will be gone in the first round. Definitely Williams from Georgia. He'll be gone in the first round if you're not looking at that for the QB. And then, of course, later on, maybe in the second round, Princely from Ole Miss. But there are a bunch of really good defensive linemen. What's the kid name from what's his name? I forgot the guy's name, and I'm going to have to pull up. But there's so many really good ones, man, that are out there that can fit. But remember, if you run in the 34 look, you got to get one that kind of fits you well in that 34 look. So even if Shedeur's not the guy, this is a very unique draft because the Saints family, they could really go anywhere here depending on how it goes and capture some really good player. I mean, it's really that wide open. Now, Shedeur is the guy because you're looking at Kellen Moore and you say this, that, and the third. But they have to be a contingency plan if Shedeur is not there, and if the package, like if they want to go and get him because of what else happens, and they are not able to secure his services, then they have to have a fallback option. And then a third option, if, okay, we like this, what about this guy? How do they feel about Jackson Dart later on. How do they feel about Jalen Milroe? We'll talk about that as well. So big ups to y'all. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you for
I wanna say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Indeed, bro. Indeed. A linebacker to replace Demario Davis is definitely something we need to look at, because although I'm not really sure about DeMarco Jackson, he just really hadn't showed me too much. I like Anthony Orji, the undrafted guy from Vanderbilt. He really showed me a lot. Ford from Texas had some spots there. Stallbird showed a few things, but there are a lot of unsure commodities at the Saints linebacker position. And there are quite a few of them that'll be available in the draft, but depending on how the Saints see it, we'll see, bro. But thank you for that as well. Appreciate you, fam. Much love. All right. Much love to all y'all, man. Much love. Appreciate you. KB Free, what's happening, fam? Says, love you and the crew, Q. Shout out and much love to you too, my friend. Appreciate your time. Forget Shedeur, says Q. Need to build the roster and see if Rattler can do it. All right. Draft Milroe or McCord. Okay, I like McCord. Actually, I like Milroe too. A lot of people, like I said, Milroe kind of reminds me, he's not exact, and these situations are so very odd because it's hard to not compare Milroe, and y'all know I'm going with this, with Jalen Hurts, because they were saying the same thing about Jalen Hurts in his third year when he was with Alabama. I talked about this on Monday's show, that he then transferred to Oklahoma, threw for almost 4,000 yards, had over 30 touchdowns that he threw. 30 touchdowns for Oklahoma in his final year, and ran for 20. He was responsible for over 50 touchdowns, 30 through the air and 20 on the ground. He had over 1,000 yards. As a matter of fact, I want to say it was 1,200 plus yards of rushing offense with 20 touchdowns, and then threw for 32 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. And they said that man was a 4th round pick that couldn't throw the football. Philly says, man, that's foolishness. We'll take him in the 2nd round. Look what you got. And I'm saying, could somebody take, because listen, Jalen Milroe, we played against some LSU. Y'all know that. Jalen Milroe is obviously, he's one of the fastest men on the field when he's out there. I mean, he's an athletic domino freak. He's physical. His issues was accuracy. He's got a little bit of gunslinger in him. I think he had how many was it, fam? 18 touchdowns, 15 to 18 touchdowns against 11? Something like that. It's in the teens versus 11 interceptions, which that touchdown to interception ratio is not very good. But he does have, if you can get somebody to kind of help him develop that aspect of his game, then he's a commodity. But if you have some imagination, you can use him in all kind of ways. Now, I'm not advocating that you take him obviously high, but at some point in day 2, somebody gonna pull the trigger on Jalen Milroe. Somebody, you know how it is. But thank you, fam. Appreciate the comment there. KC says Cam didn't throw at the combine either. I can't. How do we explain it then? How do we explain it? I don't remember. Didn't Cam throw at the combine? You might be right on that, KC, come to think about it. But how do you explain the flip-flopping of the two then? How do you explain that? How do y'all put it in the chat? Tell me, how do you explain the flip-flopping of how Shedeur went here and then Cam shot up here? What was all that about? Was that just he had a better publicist? Did he have some better connections? How do you explain the flip-flopping like he was exponentially just better than Shedeur? Now, Cam has a liver arm than Shedeur. That's this based on the film that I studied and watching both of these guys. I still say Shedeur is above him, but we talking 1A, 1B. You get what I'm saying? 1A, 1B. 1A, 1B. But I still say Shedeur has had him the whole time like this, and they're going up like this. I don't see why they flip-flopped them like that. But then that's maybe that's a little smoke screen on that. Who knows? But they do this all the time though, right? When remember the year we seen this before when guys were dominating. You had a guy like Cam Newton what Cam just tore up college football that year was him and McFarland, who had the heart ailment with the Saints. The big defensive lineman was both him and what's his? I want to say his name is McFarland. Wasn't his name McFarland, family? Who had the heart ailment? He was good. He was with the Rams. I think he was with the Rams. Came here to the Saints, had a physical, and they found out he had some type of heart ailment. He had to stop playing football. They took a physical. Saints saved his life because he had no idea. Now, the thing is, those two players, you had a dominant defensive lineman, you had a dominant quarterback. Those guys for Auburn that year tore it up. When the draft came, they had, what's his name, as the number 2 guy from Missouri, Blake. Was it Blake Bortles? No, it wasn't Blake Bortles. Who was the quarterback that year, fam? They were putting up there. Y'all remind me, man. Who was that guy? Who was that guy? Who was the guy? I want to remember. Y'all remind, who was the guy that they were comparing next to Cam Newton that year? It wasn't Blake Bortles, was it? No, it was another trash quarterback. It was another Missouri quarterback. He had blonde hair. And he was tall. He had a live arm, but he couldn't do a damn thing. What was his name? Y'all put it in the chat. Y'all know who it is. I forget. Matter of fact, look, my interest is peaked now. Hell, let me let me pull this up. Let me see. It was a big quarterback. Okay. I think he went number 2 that year in the 2011 draft. He played for the Jaguars. Who was that garbage quarterback? Let me pull him up. I'm about to pull him up right now. And I think he was Cam went number 1. Von Miller, Marcel Darius, A.J. Green, Patrick Peterson, Julio Jones, Eldon Smith, Jake Locker. No, it wasn't Jake Locker. Yeah, it was Blaine Gabbert. That's right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's right. It was Blaine Gabbert from Missouri. 6'4", 234. Blaine Gabbert. Y'all remember that name? They had when it came out, they had both Cam Newton and Blaine Gabbert. Matter of fact, who said that? I want to put his name out there. He said basically, what was the guy from ESPN? What's his name? It wasn't Kiper. It was the other dude. I don't even know if he still be up there anymore. What's the guy that be with Mel Kiper? He used to argue with Mel Kiper, trying to make a name for himself. What's his name? I forgot the guy's name. Y'all remember? He used to be on ESPN. But the thing was, I can't remember the man's name, but I wanted you. McShay, thank you, KB Free. Todd McShay. Todd McShay was the one that came out and said, you can't miss out on either one of these guys. They're basically 1A and 1B. And I said, what? How did he get that so wrong? Because a lot of times you got to remember there's money involved. A lot of these polls, and like I said, Mel Kiper you can Google him, Mel Kiper got caught up on a scandal back in the day with money tied to positioning of players. He got caught up in a scandal. Matter of fact, my research showed a couple of times Mel Kiper got caught up in money for positioning his mocks because he knew the scouts paid attention because he can turn a board. He's respected in that circle. So what I'm saying is they get this stuff wrong all the time. Like they'll throw some information out there and be dead wrong. That's what I'm likening it to. A lot of these people saying about these quarterbacks and saying they're up here. And as far as what I've seen from both Cam and Shedeur, I have Shedeur up here and Cam right below him, 1A, 1B. Liver arm with Cam. Shedeur is more of a polished quarterback in my opinion, but that's no disrespect to Cam because Cam's good too. But it's just they're different. You got a guy like Cam that just can sling it. I mean, he's made for if you get him build an offense around him, you're gonna have a top 5 offense every year because he can move. He got a degree of athleticism with him. He can throw accurately on the run. Shedeur doesn't have the athleticism, but he knows how to slide and move. Big quarterback. His poise is really big. Very accurate. is really is full with courage, can stand down there and look. Got people coming at him. He's still gonna stand in there and deliver the ball, take some nasty hits, and keep on ticking. He don't have the deer syndrome. You know what the deer syndrome is? The deer in the headlights syndrome that Derek Carr has, where he sees guys coming and he just hurry up and throws the ball up for a pick. He doesn't have that. So anyway, regardless, if you have a chance to land, if you can get a Cam, a lot of people believe Cam is out of reach. It's not a foregone conclusion that Tennessee's going to take Cam Ward with that pick. It's not a foregone conclusion. It indications are showing you that they like this guy more than this other guy and all this kind of stuff, but it's not a foregone conclusion. That you just have to be prepared for whatever happens, whatever scenario presents itself, because there will be some movement as we're getting closer and closer to the draft. There is going to be some movement here. So we'll see. All right, KB says, want to talk octopus with you on a later date. All right, that's right, brother. We're going to go there with David Griffin. That's right. Oh, the Pelican season is almost over. Sunday will be it'll be the season finale of the Pelicans' tumultuous season, man. It's just been pretty rough for us. What's up, Barbara? Shout out to Queen Barbara. Appreciate her for being here as well. Much love to you, Queen. Good to see you. Hope everything's well with you. Shout out to my boy KT. Much love as well. What's up, Lewis? How you doing, sir? Says, I have faith in Kellen to get Shedeur if we can. Hey, man, the Saints could move around. I'm like I saying, I'm not poo-pooing any of that. What's up, Jack? What's going on, Jack? I'm not putting any of the down because, like I said, they can go in any direction here. It's all open. It's all open. If he wants his quarterback, I'm pretty sure they have the draft capital and the assets to go and get him. They'll fill out the draft best way they can, and then after the draft is over with, they'll hit that next layer or layers of free agency when you start seeing, after the draft is over with, players that are still available, like wide receiver Allen, all of them have a de-escalated monetary value before training camp, all this kind of stuff. As you start seeing some of the veterans, maybe some veteran offensive linemen the Saints could use, another vet wide receiver, stuff like that, the Saints will have that opportunity to pick those guys up after the draft is over. King Chosen One. What's up, John? Shout out to John, man. King Chosen One says, I want you, big bro, because of half of these people on TV, I don't know anything about football. King, all right. Well, just ask your question, my brother, and I'll do my best to answer it, man. Thank you. All right. Big Valley says, is Ashanti Samuel still free? He is still available. We covered this on the other show not too long ago with Ashanti Samuel. He has a couple of injuries. Remember we covered that? And he has to clear like that physical aspect of, he got to get healthy. Guys will bring him in, but maybe he's just waiting to that next layer in between the end of the draft, coming into the mini camps and all that. There's another little push where you sign free agents and bring them into camp. He'll definitely be a part of that. And teams are not going to look at people like that right now. They're going to go into the draft, see if they can fill some needs here. And then after that is over with, then they'll pivot back to and see who's available and see if they can get them at a de-escalated cost. So they're just going to wait them out. And some of these players, they might come down on their asking price a bit, and it's just a very smart way of operating, if you ask me. What's up, Trey? Shout out to my brother Trey. Said, hope for this draft is very low. All right, thank you. What's up, Montreal? Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you being in the chat. Shout out. All right, y'all do me a service, hit the like button as we move forward. Now, fam, of course, you see the mighty Alvin Kamara on screen. He's out at the Colorado, spending some time with Deion Sanders. And a lot of people are saying that this is kind of tipping the Saints' hat to what's going on here. Now, like I said, man, let me see if I can bring up that other picture here of him. As you can see him, and that's prime time. He's chilling with prime time there. And a lot of people are thinking that this could be a thing now.
Out here with the Buffaloes. My guy Swayze out here. So
he's out here with the Buffaloes, chilling with Shedeur. And I often said, man, it's like if
I'm following wherever he go. Good day of practice. They got to string it together. I'm Kamara. I'm here. I'm checking out though.
All right, shout out to AK-41, man. Chilling with Prime and you like Shedeur a lot. So is this something that the Saints could be looking to? I mean, they're very excited. a lot of the, like I said, the Who Dat Nation is very excited about Shedeur. He's a good quarterback. He's a franchise style quarterback, and then it's a connection to prime time, and the guy will be really good for you. And I think that is really exciting. That's like as exciting to me as if the Saints were able to land Arch Manning and bring him here as a, you see what I'm saying? That would be like really exciting because it would electrify the family base. And I know a lot of people like Spencer Rattler. Spencer's not going anywhere. He'll be there if needed to compete. But you at this point, Kellen Moore is looking for a franchise quarterback. If the Saints can land a man, I would say go for it. I just don't think he falls to you at the 4th position. That is something that we talk about as well. And let's go on to this side of it. Let's hear from Louis Riddick, as ESPN and a couple of the national people covered the talking point about whether or not, if Shedeur Sanders goes at 9. It's a really big talking point.
All right, how about another quarterback, Shedeur Sanders? If I said he will fall out of the top 10 picks, is that ridiculous?
Yeah, I think that is ridiculous. Look, I think we are definitely overthinking this. We are picking this guy apart. We're combing through him with a fine-tooth comb in a way that really we haven't seen, another quarterback undergo in terms of scrutiny. And I really do believe that. Now, that's not hyperbole. I think we are really overthinking it with this young man. I think the floor for him is 9. I think it would very much so be a great marriage between he and the Saints at 9. I think his camp would be very, very happy if that happened. And when you're talking about a guy who had basically adjusted completion percentage about right at 80% this year, played behind no line, had no running game in 2 years at Colorado, I think you need to keep in context exactly what he overcame and still had some of the stats that he had.
It's funny you mentioned the Saints at 9 because that's exactly where Mel Kiper Jr. put him in his most recent mock draft, going the 9th pick overall to New Orleans. Swagoo, would you like that fit? Shedeur Sanders with the Saints, Derek Carr's there one more year?
I would love that fit. And when you start thinking about the situation in New Orleans, Kellen Moore had a quarterback by the name of Dak Prescott who was taken in the 4th round from Mississippi State, albeit more athletic than Shedeur. But as far as getting rid of the ball, the time and the accuracy, being able to be a clutch player, Shedeur has shown all of that. This is 2 programs that this young man has went to and elevated both of those programs and put him in a situation when no one was talking about him to everyone talking about him. And I get that Prime was the coach and I understand all of that. But Lewis was at games, called games at Colorado. At some point, there has to be some substance to what was going on in Jackson State and Colorado. And you know who was in the center of that substance? Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. It would be crazy if this dude does not get drafted in the top 10. 1, because he plays the position at a high level, and 2, because a lot of organizations need a damn quarterback. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think it would be ridiculous if he didn't go in the top 10.
I think one point that I want to make about him is this. Fit is absolutely critical for him as far as the makeup of the coaching staff and the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach in particular in this manner. He needs to go somewhere where it's really a collaborative type of relationship between he and the coach. He's someone who likes to give input. He's someone who likes to ask why. He's someone that likes to be involved. I don't think it'd be very good for you to draft this young man if you just want to pound into him. This is how we do it. I don't really need to have your input. I don't really care about what you think. I talk to their coaches out there. I talk to Pat Shermer. This young man really is invested and pours into the game, and he wants to have that kind of relationship with the coaches who coach him. And I think Kellen Moore, considering the fact that, look, Swagoo already mentioned, he coached Dak Prescott. He also coached Jalen Hurts. He has been a guy who's coached a lot of different types of quarterbacks, a lot of different types of offenses. Yep. I could definitely see Shedeur matching up very well with him in New Orleans. And on top of the fact that I think he would just like living in that part of the country and playing in front of that fan base.
Yeah, indeed, man. Hold on, let me see.
Do I have time to ask Lou a question?
Sure, absolutely.
Lou, you think what is being said about Shedeur playing for NFL coaches while in college? Is that something that is discussed while this process is going on, that he's had guys on that staff in Colorado who coached in the pros and maybe a little bit more validity to the information they're giving these GMs and people that's asking about Shedeur?
Back on Get Up, time for a segment we like to call
All right, so this is the thing, too, to talk about. We're hearing a little thing on what Louis Riddick said. Louis Riddick really intelligent on his scouting stuff. It don't make any sense to me why the slide thing going on. I think it's all just smoke. That's to be honest with you. I don't think Shedeur slides to 9 with Cleveland, looking for Tennessee, Cleveland, the Giants, the Jets, all looking for franchise quarterbacks, and then the Saints all the way down at 9. I don't think he makes it past all of those teams. So that's why I think the Saints would probably do good to trade up for him if he begins to slide. So like I said, there's a lot of talented people there, like Travis Hunter, all these other guys, Abdul Carter, Graham, depending on who you like, Mimbo, those guys are up there. They're really good. But in terms of franchise quarterbacks, ranked number 1. you can't do anything without a franchise quarterback. You really can't. You have to have a franchise quarterback. You have to have somebody at that position that plays at a high level game after game. And the thing is, I'm really happy that the Saints are looking in the direction of that. Now, whether it's true or not, we'll see. But I'm really, happy that they're pinpointing the fact that, hey, man, we need higher quality QB play at that position. We need we need to step it up a notch. And getting a young quarterback, like whether it's Cam or Shedeur, to be honest with you, would definitely catapult the Saints in terms of the future aspects and excite the family base and raise up everything because of how he plays. It's not, like I said, I watched him play when he was 2 years at Jackson State at Colorado. A lot of people thought that he would not make the jump from Jackson State, because that's quite a culture shock, to be honest with you. And even though his father was coaching at both places, he still had to play to a higher level to earn the respect that he had gotten. So, like I said, I love the idea that the Saints are looking in the direction of a franchise quarterback to go along with the Kellen Moore regime, to kind of leap that thing. It's just really cool. I got a lot of respect for the thought process. Now, what happens when we get there if the Saints back down? Because remember, we've been here before. From a historical standpoint, there were several quarterbacks that Sean Payton talked about and other people talked about that was affixed to the Saints they were interested in. You talk about guys like how the big ones got away, how he wanted Mahomes in Kansas City, stepped to the head of him and took him from him. You talk about the stuff he talked about, even Deshaun Watson when he was coming out of Clemson, how he was tearing it up. He talked about, what was the other quarterback we had? There was quite a few. Lamar Jackson, who the Saints foolishly took Marcus flipping Davenport as opposed to taking Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was there. And the Saints took this dude from UTSA, and that was one of the stupidest picks in Saints history, I got to say. I would have never, I thought everything, we about to get Lamar Jackson, baby. Man, listen, we about to boom Davenport. Boy, I couldn't let that down. It was crazy to me, but they have an opportunity to correct it. And we'll see what they do. But anyway, let's pivot to this one. It's another one here. This is from Mike Fioria, whatever his name is, from NBC, and the other brother to talk about the talk dealing with it, because there's a lot of talk right now going on between.
Are the betting favorites to land Shedeur Sanders 3-1, just a tick under the Giants at plus 350. And Devin, you mentioned the Giants.
Hold on, let me kind of slow it down, fam.
Look, after they signed Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, I was told, and Sims has heard the same thing, that they're not in play for Shedeur at 3. That doesn't mean they couldn't trade down a few spots and take Shedeur later, right? Hey, if it goes Cam Ward and then Travis Hunter and somebody wants to come get Abdul Carter, if the Giants go down a few spots and can still get Shedeur Sanders, maybe they would do that. And that would explain why at least the betting markets view it as a plus 350 proposition if the Giants end up with him. I don't think they get him at 3, but maybe they'd get him a few spots lower.
Yeah, that to me makes the most sense. If you're going to get a guy and you have veterans, and I think too, if you don't think that this guy's like this just straight blue chip type of player, you trade back and get him later. I'm just very interested to see where the Giants have Shedeur compared to Dart. Like, is it close? Like, do they think, hey, if we get Jackson Dart, we're still getting a guy that we think can play? Like, that to me is where it becomes very intriguing, because now you have the ability to say, we control this number 3 spot in a way that we already know that we're going to get this other guy. We just know where we need to land. So because we know where we need to land, that allows us how aggressive we can be in a trade or anything like that. So it's very unique. But I think for the Giants, because they have James and because they have Russell, they also have a future that feels very uncertain. And you just mentioned it with the Patriots losing that last game. It just makes me realize too, of if Gerard Mayo knew for a fact he would be back the next year, he probably wouldn't have mind losing that game and saying, hey, we're gonna get the number 1 overall pick, and that makes more sense for me next year. But these head coaches don't know that. You don't have any control of that. So for the Giants and Joe Shane and Dable, like, I don't really care about the future of the quarterback. I don't like that. To me is so interesting, because if you don't focus on just the future and who's going to be the quarterback, what you do in trading or drafting, like that becomes so different. But from an owner standpoint, you're going to be there. So you do get involved in, it blows my mind because we watched last year the Hard Knocks with the Giants front office, but we don't know exactly how much Mara had to do.
All right, let me pause it right there because he just sidebarring on other stuff. But the reality is the way, we see it is if there's a team involved that is going to pivot to jump ahead of you, that's why you would then trade up if you hear, because you're going to hear the rumors that another team is interested in this such and such player, and you just have to be on it. So like I said, I see the betting favorites have the Saints getting them. And listen, by all means, I sincerely, what's up, Gundam? Shout out to my brother Gundam. I really would love to have the kid, to be honest with you. I think he's big time. He would change the dynamic of what we got going on in the Who Dat Nation. And like I said, it'll be security too, with Derek Carr acting as a bridge guy. But it most certainly, to be honest with you, like I was saying about Derek Carr, Shedeur, with Derek Carr coming here as a bridge option this year and next year with that $70-something million dead cap hit, it's going to be interesting because, man, you go after Shedeur Sanders, that's not good news for Derek Carr, because if he screws up, they're going to be yelling for him, and I don't think they're going to play games like, remember we showed last year how Dennis Allen was playing games with the backup quarterback position? He knew just how funky and dirty that possum was. He was running around playing games like he was we don't know who the backup quarterback. I mean, come on, man. Who plays games with the backup quarterback? You know who the guy is going to be, the second and third string. Remember last year, and I told y'all guys he was going to do that because I know how off-code people behave, and then pretend like they're not off-code or doing effed up stuff when they know they don't want nobody to do that to them. But they'll do it to you all day. He was playing games, didn't want to name Spencer as the guy because he knew how popular Spencer was to the rest of the supporters. A lot of the supporters love Spencer Rattler, and they wanted to see him have an opportunity to play if Derek Carr wasn't playing up to snuff. And Dennis Allen, what he did was he would then move Spencer Rattler to the third string position using Jake Haener, and a knock at Jake Haener's credibility when he says, hey, I deserve to be the backup quarterback. Yeah, you may be a backup quarterback, but not the second string. When he did that, I was like, man, this is a shady dude. Y'all better watch out for that guy. He knew he didn't earn that job. He didn't win that job. Spencer Rattler blew him away in that competition, but he's sitting up there saying, hey, I deserve the opportunity. But he got played in the proposition because he should have did it righteously by telling him, nah, man, I'm not going to, this guy won the job. He won the job. But then he got exposed in that game when he, so see, his justice is going to come out one way or the other. But the bottom line, that's what Dennis Allen was doing. He was playing games trying to protect Carr from Spencer Rattler's popularity and what he had done. They did not want him to be the second string quarterback, because if Derek Carr struggled, you'll be hearing the Who Dats from the stands yelling to put Rattler in the game. So if you draft Shedeur Sanders here, could you imagine what happens with Derek Carr if he screws up in these games? Not saying that he will, but if he doesn't come to play this year and knock off the stuff about not knowing what's going on, all this kind of stuff that he likes to play the game, like I don't know why everybody doesn't like me. Like, I study film, but you don't see the film where you staring people down. You don't see how you stare one side of the film down. You don't see that. You're supposed to see everything in film, but he pretends like he's doing the film work. You can't do that. If you're not moving that offense and winning games, you're not going to last a full season with a first string, a top 10 first string quarterback there. Look, ex Kirk freaking Cousins from the fail kinds, his brother Jerry calls him. Look what happened to him. And he was making more money. Well, he made $180 million they were giving him. So at the end of the day, the money won't protect you up to a part, and the coach who brung you in to protect you is no longer there. If you go and get Shedeur, that is going to be very telling. And I think he understands that to a degree. It's like, right now, they're hard on him because of the fact that this team is not producing, and you are its quarterback. You're its high-priced quarterback who needs to step his game up higher, because people are not just seeing that's the game they play with people just hating on Derek Carr. Man, people ain't hating on you. You need to perform. You need to perform and stop making so many damn questions. These people don't get it. And I'm not talking to the people who don't get it because, they just see you see what you want to see. And I ain't here to convince you otherwise. I'm not talking to you if the message don't penetrate your mind. If you don't get it, you just don't get it. Study the film and prove me wrong and show me that he's not staring people down. He does it every other play. The checking down is a byproduct of not studying all of your progressions. You're supposed to progress and go through all of your receiver options before you drop down to check the ball down. You checking it down because you're not looking at everybody. That's why receivers are getting frustrated. And I'm saying that will magnify with Shedeur coming down here because he don't stare people down like that. It'll be very obvious that how the offense moves with one guy versus the other guy. The film don't lie. The tape is king in football. Tape is king. Could you imagine what will happen if that happens in the city of New Orleans? It's going to be catastrophic. That's why I don't understand why Mickey Loomis just didn't let the man go where he wanted to. He don't want to be here. I'm not for holding people that don't want to be. If that old girl wants to go over there, let that old girl go. Let her go tear up somebody else's life. You let that old girl go over there and tear up somebody else's life, man, and you go do your thing. You understand what I'm talking about? Let her go. But anyway, man, let me keep it moving and grooving here. Let's hit this up right here, man, and look at this. Now, this is a list of the top 30 visits, the top 30 Saints visits up to part right now, family, and a good, healthy tracker list right here provided by NFLTradeRumors.com. They did a wonderful job of keeping up with some of these guys because there's a lot of people. This is so far was Arkansas wide receiver Isaac Tesla has his 30 visit with the Saints, according to Jordan Schultz. You got Williams, the big defensive end from Georgia. He was included. Mike Ruffalo there. Louisville cornerback Quincy Riley had a visit with the Saints. TCU, fantastic all-world wide receiver Savion Williams, who is going to be, I don't know if he's a first-round draft pick. He's climbing. I would definitely say he's in the second-round pick range because he's phenomenal. Big, fast, could be moved around. This guy does it all. And if you can land a Savion Williams, man, a Savion Williams in the Saints offense with Chris Olave and these guys, oh my goodness. So, it'll be fantastic. It opens up so much, it makes the offense more complete. It really does. The Saints also had a 30 visit with Nick Emmanwori, the big safety who's climbing the charts from South Carolina. Texas QB Quinn Ewers was there. We know John Hendricks reported on that. Jeremy Fowler talked about Mason Graham, who's portrayed as the top defensive tackle, interior defensive lineman in this draft. UC Davis running back Lan Lawson. Saints looking at some running backs, another interior defensive tackle, and Mr. Shamar Turner. Very good big Texas A&M interior man. Underhill reported on him. Nebraska's Thomas Fadone, the tight end. Ursuri, the big offensive lineman, the 6'6" or 6'7" tackle. Big guy. Connerly, another tackle from Oregon, and cornerback Siobhan Revel, who's from the big, lengthy 6'3" cornerback from the East Carolina University. What is it? The Pirates. So this is a list of some of the guys the Saints had on the top 30 visits. These are terrific game-changing players. If we can get at least two of these guys, on the team, like I said, the Saints really the positions. Like if you're looking at for Kellen Moore, the flash position of if Shedeur's there, if Shedeur's not there, then you pivot to something else. If Shedeur is not available, pivoting to at 10, who do you do? Do you trade back or you just take who you got? Do you go with a defensive end there? Because you could use a DE on your defensive line. You could use some more help on the offensive line. Is Will Campbell there? Is Kevin Banks Jr. there? You see what I'm saying? Is Pierce there? You know, you see what I'm saying? If that guy's not there, can you pivot to somebody else and then come back in the second round and see about it? So all these scenarios are being kind of thought about as your draft board is built. But obviously the Saints have, you know, Shedeur in very high rankings, and he's looking at them saying, hey, Deion's looking at him saying, hey, man, I like that. And another cool thing too, family, to be honest with you, is if the Saints are able to get the, you know, move in position or take Shedeur, whether he slides to him or they move up to go and get him. Another cool thing would be, and I did this in the mock on Patreon, and I got another show coming out for y'all too, family, for that. This is another thing. If you take one, it would be so cool if you took them both, which means, you know, Primetime has two sons. He has Shedeur, the quarterback, and he has the defensive back, Shedeur Sanders, who's not as highly ranked. A lot of people see Shedeur as a day three selection. In a mock draft that I did, on a recent mock draft, I took Prime's son slid to me at 9 according to the software, and then I took Shedeur at the back end of the draft, so I had both Sander boys. And I think that's cool because that would be really cool because you have your franchise quarterback, you'll have because you can use some help at the DB position. He's just not as fast, but he's a solid hitting defensive back. He's just not way up there like you anticipated him to be, but he's a very solid DB. Having both them there, and then the coolness of being able to have Primetime to come and visit your camp to go see about his sons. You see what I'm saying? Just to have Primetime to come down in connection to New Orleans and go to the camps, to go there and talk to the DBs, and, you know, just to have that Hall of Famer there in the Saints building, bringing that good Hall of Fame energy and all that knowledge to help the DB. I thought that was really cool, man. Anytime you get a fantastic all-time great like Primetime attached to your organization, man, that would be really cool to be able to kind of see that happening. Also, on some of the private workouts that happened too, is that they talked about Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe had a private workout with the Saints, and more on that in just a second. Texas center Jake Majors, who's seen as one of the top center options in his draft, linebacker Carlson Swinger, let me see, is that Schlesinger with in person with the Saints at the per day. That was Schefter breaking that down. You see the defensive end from UCLA had a private one as well. Wide receiver Ty Felton from Maryland, who's pretty good. Penn State tight end Tyler Warren declined to work out at the pro day, but instead do private workouts with 6 teams, including the Saints. So there you go there. And that's some of the top stuff. Now, the Jalen Milroe thing kind of lit a lot of people's fuse because he had some impressive workout and really impressed the Saints and the Browns in what he was able to do. Like I said, he has if you watch some of the footage on Jalen Milroe, he can throw that ball. He can sling it. It's just decision-making at time is a little this decision-making at time is a little questionable. Let's just say that. That's why he has all those interceptions, like 11 picks this fast year. But the reality is the guy is a playmaker. The guy makes plays. Let's see what the article right here says. According to Bleacher Report, Jalen Milroe reportedly made a strong impression on multiple teams in private workouts leading up to the 2025 NFL Draft. Milroe's workouts with the Browns and Saints were described as impressive, according to Jordan Schultz from Fox. The Alabama quarterback previously met with the Jets, the Steelers, before his pro day on March the 19th. He's coming off a 2024 campaign with the Crimson Tide in which he excelled on the ground but wasn't able to take a step forward as a passer. In 13 games, he rushed for 726 yards. That's 20 touchdowns with that, and also completed 64% of his throws for 2,844 yards and 16 touchdowns compared to 11 picks. So it's just one of them things you look at him, and like I said, he's the fastest man on the field. Regardless, he takes off and you won't catch him, and he's physical. You know, it was relatively disappointing season through the air for the signal caller as he recorded a 65.8 completion percentage, 23 touchdowns while getting picked off 9 times during the 23 campaign. Still, reportedly sharp performances in private workouts could lead to teams to believe that his arm talent was represented better in 2023 compared to 2024. He was listed as the number 5 quarterback and the number 79th overall in the 2025 draft class on most recent big boards from Bleacher Report, NFL scouting department. Bleacher Report's NFL scout Dame Parsons highlighted Milroe's athleticism and promise in the pocket in his scouting report. Quote, overall, Milroe's outstanding blend of elite speed, athleticism, physicality, dense build, and a live arm fits the trend of today's quarterback archetypes. As he has shown this season, there are encouraging flashes of development as a pocket passer. The Browns own the number 2 overall pick in 2025 draft, while the Saints hold the 9. While both teams may not select Milroe that high, they could target him in day 2. Cleveland's quarterback situation is uncertain, trading for former first-round pick Kenny Pickett on March the 12th after he spent the 2024 season as a depth option for Philly. For the Saints, veteran quarterback Derek Carr still has 2 years left on his contract, but has long-term future with the team is uncertain. If New Orleans drafts Milroe, it likely operate in a backup role during his rookie year while adjusting to the NFL. So a lot of people like what he brings. And like I said, man, it was comparisons, and y'all see if y'all agree with me, that I heard some people say they were comparing this man to, what's his name for the Colts? Richardson. Remember when Richardson came out, they were saying the similar things. Every year it's one guy that fits that role, where you have a guy that's like, hey man, you know, the guy is fast and all this athletic domino, he's dominating, but he is suspect with his passing. He's not as accurate as you want. He got a live arm, that kind of stuff. There were comparisons with Jalen Milroe to Richardson. As fair as, I thought some of them were very fair in terms of the development, what he was coming out of college to what he is. But some people seen Richardson as a little higher than Milroe. I don't know. Richardson's a beast at what he does, but still from a passing standpoint, he still needs work. But he was still a top core. He was a first-round draft pick quarterback. Milroe's, a lot of people think he's a day 2 guy, that he'll be available, that he's climbed up enough and he's impressed enough to be a day 2 quarterback. So, but this not really surprising, fam. As the Saints are doing their due diligence, they've seen, like we've documented here, the Saints have talked to Shedeur, they've talked to Cam, they've talked to Milroe, they talked to Quinn Ewers from Texas. They've talked to who else did they talk to, fam? They talked to quite a few. If you want to talk about the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks available, the Saints have had a discussion with them. They've met with them. They've worked them out. They did that. So I mean, Milroe's interesting. I see him as maybe a day 2 option. That's what I kind of see the man as. But yeah, the Saints are doing, like I said, they're definitely looking at a quarterback, and they've had an opportunity to look and talk to a lot of different ones. They talked to who else was it? Hold on. I think they might be on this list right here. It's quite a few of them that the Saints talked to in terms, like we talked about Ewers from whatchamacallit. Who else was it? They had a bunch of people that they reached out to. Yeah, I ain't showing all of them here, but yeah, we know they talked to at least 5 or 6 of the top quarterbacks available. All right, but but at the end of the day, got a credit to say, Kyle McCord, they go around right. They talked to Kyle McCord. Mike Ruffalo reported that. So you have him. Jackson Dart was another one. Yeah, so Jackson Dart, all these quarterbacks, Saints were able to. So at some point, you're thinking that ranges a bit from Cam, from Shedeur to Cam to Jackson Dart to Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord. That's a good range of guys, because those guys go from the top of the draft of the first round all the way to inside around the 4th round. A lot of people see McCord as a day 3 guy. I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll see. I like Kyle McCord. I think McCord, he doesn't have the athleticism you want, but he's really smart. He's accurate, and he can throw that ball around, man, from Syracuse. So they got a lot of quarterbacks. We'll see exactly where they go. Jackson Dart's stack, his stuff is improving in too. All right. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. I just wanted to kind of look at you guys and kind of chew the fat with you on that. What's going on with the black and gold moving forward as we prepare Getting closer and closer to that vaunted NFL draft, baby. All right, big ups to all of y'all. Good to see you as well. Let me see if I get a few questions in here before I get out. What's up, Abraham? Shout out to Abraham. Much love. A meal roll. Okay, John says meal rolls equals Josh. Okay. All right, that's interesting. Yeah, Richardson. There you go. King Blood, you know just what I'm talking about. What's up, Scoop? Shout out to my boy Scoop, man. Much love, man. What it do, pimpin'? Shout out to my brother. Doc54 says meal roll to me is better version of Taysom Hill. Wow. Wow. A better version of Taysom Hill. Meal roll. Yes. Man, I could see that, bro. I could see that. I could see his comment, but he might, but I could see that. Could you imagine if that's indeed the application? I don't know if they go with that, but if anybody was to kind of work on his passing acumen and get him together, would be Kellen Moore and Dougie Nussmeier. You know, he has, because they, and granted, like Louis Riddick talked about in his breakdown of the situation, how Kellen Moore has worked with all these different styles of quarterbacks. You know, there's a propensity that a lot of guys in the NFL, like a Kellen Moore and a Dougie Nussmeier, would love to have a quarterback with duality, a guy that could throw the ball and run with the ball. You know, that moves the offense and make it better, especially when you have playmakers all around like Elvin Kamara spreading out this and Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and all these guys just being around there. It just makes life easier on you when you have a quarterback that just knows what to do, man. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes and folds. Yeah, Who Dat Data says we need a big X receiver. Yeah, Savion Williams, man. I don't know where people saying day 2. I mean, like a day 2 second round guy. Say second round pick, right? As high as he go. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody snatched him at the back of the first round too. I mean, he's very talented, but they have quite a few wide receivers that you could draft. The kid out of Iowa State is a good one, another big wide receiver with some abilities. All right, AT4, how you doing, fam? Shout out to you. Good to see you in the chat. Pelicans Nola says Milrose is going to be in the first round. That's a good question. How many quarterbacks do you guys think go in the first round? What do you guys think about that? Maybe that should be hold on, y'all be so gracious. Let me put that question in the chat. Please answer this for me. That's a good question. How many QBs will go in the first round? Y'all answer that question for me. Let me see. 2, 4, or 5. Y'all answer this. There go the poll question right there. Y'all chime in on the poll question there. That's a great question. How many quarterbacks do you guys think go in the first round? You know, we know there are going to be at least 2 with Cam and Shedeur. But how many other quarterbacks do you believe go in the first round? Do you think it'll be 3? Do you believe Jackson Dart will be a first round quarterback? Do you believe there'll be another quarterback in the first round? 4 quarterbacks in the. What do you guys think? Y'all chime in the chat. Let me know. Please, if 200 of us in here, please feel free to kind of let me know how y'all feel about that. All right, thank you. King Blood says QBs, I'll take either Shedeur at 9 or Dart in the second round. Okay, thank you. All right, King Cho said Dart equal Kenny Pickett 2.0. Hemisphere says Q, how short of a leash do you think Carr will have? Man, listen. Fam, like I said, it depends. Like if the option is Shedeur and he's the franchise guy, you know, you're not going to bury him on 3rd on the depth chart. That's just not that's not how it's going to go. If it's a top 10 quarterback, he's going to be probably listed as your backup. He'll compete with Spencer and Jake Hayner. But it'll be if you reach up there and get a top quarterback, even if you get a guy in the second round, if Shedeur is not the guy, and you get Jackson Dart or Milroe or somebody like that in the second round, he would definitely be on a short leash because it's going to be tough, man, for Derek Carr. Because even though there will be a certain amount of the Saints will do. Like I said, I don't know. I don't see the Saints winning a bunch of games. I still need to see more evidence of what the offense looks like, because I still see we need more help on offensive line. We still need some incredible big play wide receivers, like big wide receivers, not these little guys, to kind of balance the Saints offense. We still need a lot of answers offensively speaking. We don't know how the defense is going to adjust to the realignment of what they got going on there. So it's a lot of turning over and scheme change, there. So it'll take a little bit for the philosophy to latch in. So I'm anticipating, I don't perceive it'll be a super successful season, but depending on where they go in the draft could decide that, because I'm thinking depending on how good Derek Carr is, if he can come in there and the Saints put him in the position, because up to this point, Derek Carr is not going to change his stripes. He's just not going to do that. It's 12 years in. I mean, all of whatever bad habits the man, and that's not just with him, that's with anybody that's usually doing the same thing over and over again. You're not going to have, it's just not going to work, right? So at some point, people have to pivot and look at it and say, man, we have to put this guy, if this guy's our quarterback for the next year or two or whatever, we're going to have to put him in a position to win, which the Saints have to build that offensive. They got to build a strong offensive line to help them out. You got to build a strong offensive line. You got to run the ball. You got to put him into play action. That's just what it is. It's going to take time for him to learn whatever the system is. Every year is a different offensive system since he's been here. And every year is the same thing. It takes time for him to pick up the system. It takes time for people to pick up the system, period. But if you can run the football and play action, you will have a chance with him, because that's what he do real well. Getting him to drop back and do all this other kind of stuff cold turkey, it's not going to happen. We've seen that the last couple of years, that's just not a good usage of his talent. Like right now, we don't have time to try to turn him into something that he isn't. That's what Clint Kubiak did last year, and it didn't work. They try to speed him up, and how good did that work out? It didn't work out too well. Knox Villain says the only trade block I would entertain for a top 10 pick is Steelers, where we'll get that first this year and next year. Thank you, bro. All right, King Blood, shout out to you, fam. Cartel says no on Milrose, not better than Taysom Hill. But you can see the comparison which he's making, because their games are the same. If you watch Jalen Milroe, he is more explosive than Taysom Hill. He really is. No disrespect to Taysom, because Taysom's like a 36-year-old man or something like that. He's old. I mean, he's 35, 36. Milroe's is 20, in his 20s. So yeah, athletically, yeah, he's faster. He's the fastest guy on the field. You can't touch him. I mean, he gets from 0 to 60. He's super athletic. He's like they saying, he's compact. He is strong and muscular. He does throw a tight ball. He's just, decision making needs to be worked upon. But it's a lot. If you develop him into something, I'm not saying they're going to get him, but I'm just telling you as a scout. But I can see the comparisons. Bayou so many Saints family members going to be looking crazy when Shedeur not the Saints. Why y'all get all y'all hopes up knowing we talking edge rush out of ICDC college? No, it's just a talk, bro. I mean, that's what you do during draft time, is you talk, because that's all it is. It's nothing but rumor mill and speculation that's happening out of these camps. A lot of stuff is tying to people, and you're hearing a lot of stuff going. If the Saints really wanted him, they can go up and get him, or based on where he goes. I don't believe he slides, but at the end of the day, man, it is all talk anyway, right? It's just talk. It's just going over what's happening out there right now. Cartel says, knock you something in that Kool-Aid. You heard me? Yeah. All right, thank you. That's a high pedestal to put him on when he haven't done it on the next level. Talking about with Taysom, I can see the comparison. I can see the physicality. I've seen, like I said, if you watch footage of Jalen Milroe at Alabama, we played against LSU. He ran around us and dominated the team. He did that all season long, just running all over the people. He'd run over people, scoring touchdowns. A part of his game is decision-making and his accuracy. So, I mean, that's just how we go. KB says, yo, Q, before you go, we need Mickey an impression of how Mickey would try to explain or even apologize to Carr about drafting Shedeur. Why would he apologize to Derek Carr for taking Shedeur Sanders? Kellen, that's what I was saying. That's why Derek Carr knew he wanted to go. Derek Carr wanted to go. When Dennis Allen got fired last year, he was on a train to nowhere. He knew that. And I said this before, his protection was gone. And if the new coach is coming in, he's gonna want his own quarterback. So even though he says he respects Derek Carr's game, he's going after his own quarterback, which means he sees him as the proper representation, perhaps the future of the team at that position. So his loyalties will reside with the guy he drafted. Carr's been in the league not long enough to understand how this play works. He's been in a situation when he was with the Raiders where the situation soured. So he's in another situation where it is souring. And instead of wanting to go through it, he was electing to leave and go somewhere else and play out the rest of the couple of years or whatever he's going to do. And I have absolutely no problem with that. But to keep making Lomas to keep him here and then try to draft a quarterback in the top 10 or wherever he's going to be would definitely, unless he plays at a high level, it's definitely not going to be a good look because people are going to be yelling for the stance from him. That ain't a good feeling, you know. You can try to ignore it all you want, but you're hearing all that. You know, your play it guides, and the people are real. They react to what you give them. That's the crazy part about it. People are in this thing where they do this deflection thing. The people are reacting on what you are giving them. Whatever your play is giving to these is doing out on the field, the people are reflecting the energy back to you. And then these people sit up here and pretend like they don't know where it's coming from. Absolutely astounding. What you are giving out there is what the people are taking, and they're giving it back to you. So if you're giving out greatness, the people will shower you with that. You know, it's just the Who Dat Nation and the support base is a giant mirror. Just see it as that. They're a giant mirror that whatever you put out, it come back to you. It's as simple as that. So if you don't like what they're giving to you, you need to change your game. It ain't on us, it's on you. Because we know what winning looks like. We had a really good example of a top-notch quarterback for many years. So we know what it looks like. So for these crazy-ass people who want to play these deflection games and pretend like they're not at fault and they're doing whatever they're supposed to do. I mean, these weirdos, man, people are reflecting back to you what you're giving them. That's the bottom line. If you don't like what they're giving, change your game up and do something else. Learn to study tape better. Stop staring people down all the damn time. Stop talking so much up there and not saying anything. That's Mr. Word Salad galore. It's like, good grief, this guy say a lot of shit and he don't be talking about nothing. You know. Yeah, do you know? Shit. All right, but anyway, how would Mickey do his Hold on now. Hold on, KB. Hold on, Derek. Hold on. Derek, can you come in here for a second? Yeah. You know, Mickey, can I help you? Can you know? Hold on now. Hold on. Don't say anything. I don't want to hear all that word salad. You know, you can go off and hold on. I want to stay asleep. You know, I mean awake. And I'm an old man and I fall asleep sometime. But anyway, I just want to apologize to you for drafting Shedeur and hold on now and listen. I know I told you that if I will take the bows and arrows for you, and I know I said that. I told you the other day that if I listen, I told you at the count of 3 that listen. They're gonna shoot at me, so you know when they start shooting at me, shooting their arrows at me, you run into the building, all right, and I'll take the blows. I'll take all that. I don't lie now. And I know I did do it. You ran out there and they shot you with the arrows, and that was your fault. You didn't wait till I said go. I said 1, and 2, and 3, and then you just ran. And I said, hold on now. I said go. I didn't say go. So I just want to apologize for taking Shedeur, and listen, my door is always open until it's not. So when I close that damn door, you're on your own, buddy. Okay, hold on now, yeah. All right, that's as close as I got. All right, shout out to you, KB. There you go. That's the Mickey for you, baby. That's as good as I got right there. A Mickey, man. Hold on now. God damn it. Hold on. You guys, hold on now. Shedeur, hold on. Yeah, man. So, end of the day, I just think it's really awesome, man, to be honest with you, man. Whether it's a I just listen, fam. I know it might not be the man, you know, we just going over just rumors. But at the end of the day, I could appreciate the fact that the Saints are looking in the direction of a franchise quarterback. You know what I mean? They understand the finality of the Carr situation and that you need a franchise level quarterback. And I like that. You know, I think that's a positive as opposed to just being with all these bridge guys all the time. Got to bring the bridge guy in to get to another. Enough of that. What's up, brother Derek? How you doing, bro? He said, I think they'll take a corner or an edge rusher. It could be, bro. Could be, bro. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it's all wide open. None of this stuff is exactly concrete right now, especially when you got another couple of weeks before the draft. A lot of stuff is just speculative. Bayou Soul says Shedeur is absolutely 100% culture fit. I would say that. I can only imagine how lit he would have the city. He would light it all up, bro. To get him down here, that would be. Yeah, then I think he fits well with Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier. Smart quarterback. You know, it would just be, I don't know. That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome if they can pull that down. But you know, like I said, I like Cam Ward too if he falls to us like that, or if that's the case, it might be. We'll see. All right, OG to the third degree. Shout out to you as well, Desi. She likes it. All right, RG says, could you imagine Sean Payton with Shedeur in New Orleans? That would be, yeah, I know. Sean Payton would love it. Wasn't he talking to Shedeur? I seen some footage of him standing up there talking to him. Slick ass. All right, RG says, Mickey reminds me of Jerry Jones and how your coach brings you success. And now you as a GM try to replicate the success of your coach. Yes, indeed. Didn't work out too well, did it? All right. Yeah, hold on now. God damn it. You Saints guys. Hold on. All right, Lewis says, I think Mickey can turn it around. He's just stuck in his ego. We all go there, but we don't have to stay there. That's right. Listen, all I have to say about the Mickey Loomis, like I said, Mickey Loomis, and I'm not going to get up off that because we know about Mickey Loomis. He's incredibly arrogant. I don't like how Mickey Loomis deals with the supporters of the club. I don't like that at all. I think Mickey Loomis needs to step down as the general manager. I think Kai Hartley should be the new general manager. Mickey Loomis stepping down does not remove him from a job. He has the VP job. Remember, he has two jobs. He's a VP and a general manager. He can give up the GM to somebody else. He sits stubbornly on the team. I think somebody else should have more control over the say. You know, and I just think that a smarter organization will add smarter football people to the upper parts of the administrative level. Like a Dennis Lauscher should be rebranded something else. I don't think he's a president of football operations, and when he don't know nothing about football operations on the field, I think that's stupid. His knowledge base as far as football is almost the same as Gail Benson. So you can't have two people at the top of your organization who don't know about football, man. That's just ridiculous. And everything is reliant upon Mickey Loomis to make certain key decisions. And we know Mickey Loomis is already in dementia land already. Chewing gum, eyes bucking, logically not making any sense, running the team with these into just totally delusional about this whole injury thing, while complaining about injuries but not doing anything to invest in new technologies or hiring new doctors to come in to fix it. That means that you full of you know what. Don't tell me about injuries if you're not willing to do anything about them. That's all I'm saying. That's my point. Don't tell me about no injuries if you're not going to get the best doctors you can find, because you got all the money. You got access to billions of dollars. Why aren't we having the best doctors that we can find here? The best soft tissue people, the best spring, whatever you got, whatever we dealing with. Why aren't you out there finding the best people? Don't tell me about no injuries if you ain't using the money or the financial resources to find the best people to fix it. and they keep happening year after year, we don't want to hear that. How long you think you're going to sing the injury monster song to us before we start bucking back at you? What do you think? Come on. You can do every week. We weak at the defensive tackle position. What are we going to do? Go get more defensive tackles. We weak at the wide receiver position. Go get new wide receivers. You need a quarterback, get a quarterback. You need a kicker, get a kicker. Why doesn't that logic not translate to medical? Why doesn't it not? Because they're full of it. That's why. This is a football team. Of course you're going to have injuries. Get the best doctors that money could afford. You can do it. OG to the third degree says we're going to need a Deion Sanders in I don't know if I can do that, bro. But then again, maybe so, bro. I'm going to see about it. I'm going to try to get that together, bro. Thank you, man.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
This whole injury monster thing. I heard Cam. Y'all know I'm hardcore on these guys with all these excuses, man. Demario Davis and all these guys come out with these excuses. And I see you start talking like that, I see you're a paid agent, an asset for the team making excuses because you're not doing me or you any favors by complaining about injuries all the time. Anything could be fixed when you got the money and resources, family. The invisible injury monster afflicts all of us. Go get better doctors, get better trainers, level up. Level up. These are not excuses anymore that don't come with no answers, man. You playing games if you saying that every year over and over again. We want to bend some. Hold on now, goddammit. Hold on, Q. Hold on now. Hold on, goddammit. We would have been something. Last year, we would have been to the playoffs. We'd have won 10 games if injuries. That's what really hurt us. Injuries. We didn't have this guy. We didn't have that guy. Goddammit. And all I can say to you, hold on now, clam chowder, is that we at the end of the day, let me tell you, we would have won 10 games. We go, hold on now, Bucky. We would have had 10 games last year under Dennis Allen. Hold on. And I'm not apologizing. Dennis Allen is a great coach. Dennis Allen. 5-8, 7-8. Hold on now. No, you wouldn't have won 10 games. Because you can't pull that on me because I know football, man. I know how this goes. After the second week, the Saints dominated weeks 1 and 2. We talk about this all the time. When the third week came, the Saints should have beat the Philadelphia Eagles. It was a close game. They should have beat the Eagles. They collapsed. They had breakdown. They had the injuries with McCoy. He left in the first series of the game. It's not like McCoy was throughout the entire game. Then at the back end, he lost, and then we lost McCoy in the first offensive series. So we should have adjusted some kind of way. The reality why we didn't adjust well in that game is because we weren't built correctly. We didn't have a true backup center. Whose fault is that? Is that me or whose fault is that? Then later on in the season, the reality is teams broke the Saints down. That's what the NFL does. They needed just a couple of games of film to see what the Saints offense was doing because they was tearing up everybody. They made the adjustment, and that offense never looked the same for the rest of the year. And we did gain those players back. We did get our offensive line back after injuries. We did eventually get all of them back. And it never looked the same because in the NFL, they use the tape, they break you down, they find out what you're doing, and they take it away from you and force you to go to option B, C, D, E, and F, and whatever else. Problem is when they took away whatever the Saints was doing away from them, the Saints had no pivot. They had nothing to go to. Then what Clint Kubiak did, he just started over-relying on players as opposed to game planning. He got really lazy and stupid in his play calling. And I would call that out from week 2. I'll say, fam, this dude don't know how to adjust. He doesn't know how to adjust. He would just overuse players as opposed to spreading everything out and using this guy or decoying that guy. He would just over to the point where we had the nursery rhyme. If Taysom Hill, how it went, how it went, y'all put it in there because we said it the whole damn year. Something about Taysom. If Taysom is, I forgot my little nursery rhyme. If Taysom ain't in, if Taysom can't play or something like that, Clint Kubiak couldn't call the play. Y'all put it in the chat. Y'all know what the hell I was talking about. So bad coaching, terrible adjusting, bad, not having a team prepared to play, not having them motivated, not having all that. None of that is never said when it's always blamed on these funky injuries. And I'm just sick of it. I'm done with it. You had these people, Cam Jordan, no injuries, but you even tell me that possum-faced coach of yours, he wasn't backstabbing them people. He wasn't fracturing his own team, the locker room, doing stupid shit. He wasn't doing that. He didn't keep these players on code, have them performing. They wasn't accountable. Who's that? Why we ain't hear none of that? But it's always injuries. Get out of here, man. The moment the injury monster gains some arms and a mouth to debate their ass, they're in trouble. That's all I can say. Oh, they're in trouble then. They're in trouble then. Let that injury monster gain a mouth and some arms. Their ass is in trouble. They can no longer blame him. He'll beat the shit out of them then. He already beating the shit out of them right now, you know? All right, anytime, man. Big ups to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Black Major, I see you. All right, student said last year Dennis Allen cut the best medical. That's the point. We have to have the people. We can't be like, oh, we're gonna just run it all back because that's operating too fluky and lucky, like on the luck tip. I thought we were supposed to be. I thought that if you prepare properly, that you can be able to minimize a lot of the stuff that goes wrong with your football team. You have an opportunity to build a quality depth chart to absorb injuries. And even if the injuries hit you in a disproportionate way, you're still able to make trades up to a point. You're still able to pilfer off people's practice squads. And like I said, you still have to win games. If you are you can't, a winning coach will never allow injuries to be an excuse for failure of the team. And the pencil pushers will tell you that because they don't want to explain that, and they just want you to just keep buying the ticket stupidly. But guess what? It's tough nowadays. We don't want to spend good money after bad. So you would have to show up with a good product. Now, is that so hard to believe? We're not going to give no money away to no shitty product. I'm sorry. We done that for years. We done gave the Saints all kind of leverage, and all they did got Mickey Loomis up there talking to you slickly. Hold on now. I'll tell you guys something. You go and buy those goddamn tickets. Hold on now. Oh, yeah, by the way, hold on. Season ticket prices, they're going up. Mickey Loomis, can I ask you a question? Hold on now. I didn't say it was question time. I'm talking up here, guy. Hold on now. I ain't done. You guys, ticket prices are going up. Hold on. And let me tell you another thing. Hey, hold on. I need to charge you some extra money for the parking, too, because, clam chowder and gourmet orange juice, all that shit's getting expensive. Somebody's got to pay for it, and God knows it's not going to be me. I tell you something, goddammit. All right, anyway, Robert says Ruiz was supposed to be the backup. He's sorry in that position too. Oh, Caesar Salad Ruiz, bro, don't start me on Caesar Salad, man. I was saying Cesar Ruiz, people don't even look at it because they got so much other stuff I guess they're paying attention to. But Cesar, I've been hard on Cesar Ruiz. I just studied film on him. Ruiz, in my opinion, should be the best offensive lineman the Saints have right now. He played all those reps. That guy been at that guard position for years, and he's still blowing blocks. He's still late to the party on some of this stuff. He don't shed as well as he's supposed to. Block a guy, shed off to get to the next level. He's not there, man. He's just not there. And I'm saying this dude's supposed to be way better. This dude's supposed to be knocking on Pro Bowl. I know Pro Bowl don't mean nothing nowadays. They just hand it out like they did with Tim McCoy last year. He missed half the season, played really excellent in 2 games, and he got a Pro Bowl bid. I don't know how that happened, but he accepted it, though. But at the end of the day, Ruiz is just not, man, no. Ruiz should be way better than what I see him as, man. Way better than that. Knox said a few years back, Mike Detillier gave a stat that said teams lose something like 90% of their games without their starting center. That's a few years ago, and Mike Detillier is right. And if you know that, what would be the following thought on that, Knox villain? If you know that your starting center means that much, what you supposed to do? Have a really good backup behind them. That's what a depth chart's for. You're supposed to have a good backup center to keep the party moving. So I mean, that stat is an old stat, and he's right. A starting center means a lot. That's why you got to make sure you have a good backup to step in. You got to have somebody for everybody, because anybody at any given time could be missing a few games. You have to hit it and roll. And this thing is not easy. It's a very daunting thing to do. That's why it costs so much money, to pay so much money to do this in this professional league. You have to win by all accounts. This is nothing new. Nothing new, right? All right, you have an opportunity. Yeah, AT Forces Q was terrible. One trick pony. If it works, keep going. If it doesn't work, sit the corner and suck his thumb and rock. Yeah, I mean, he it was crazy, man. Like I said, that guy was, like I said, he started off good with the accountability thing, speeding up Carr. But when Carr got hurt, and he, that first time when Derek Carr got hurt, then he had to shift to another guy. And when Carr finally came back, it wasn't the same energy that he had when he started the season. His accountability went like this. It started high like this, and then that shit went all the way down like that. All the way down. That guy had he had complete control of that Saints offense. Dennis Allen left that offense to him. That was his offense. He didn't know how to use none of the backups. He didn't construct it correctly. He would overuse Taysom Hill. That's why Taysom Hill got hurt. Remember, Taysom got his leg twisted and all this kind of stuff. This idiot running him in the ground. I was like, why is this idiot using him like that? Do something else. Use Jordan Mims. You picked these guys. But didn't want to use them. Didn't know how to use them. Was trying to force the deep ball. Wasn't setting up the play action correctly. Was watching week after week them backups sucking there. And as opposed to getting them guys out of there and getting better offensive linemen, he kept them in there. What's his name? Ali Udo was supposed to be. I would have cut Ali Udo. He's not good. I'd have cut Shane LePew and all these clowns. They would have been gone, man. I would have went after linemen that at least know how to run block. We couldn't even run the ball. You couldn't even set up your offense correctly, but he did nothing about that. Nothing. He just kept pretending like it didn't exist. And I like, man, we get this asshole out of here, man. I was so glad. He let him go stink up Seattle up there. He took the same people that he was here. They went up there and did it. So, I mean, good riddance to him. The guy you got a lot to learn, bro. Learn how to adjust. I don't see how he in the league living off his pop's name, man. Living off his pop's name. That's what he doing. Dude don't know how to adjust to save his life. I'm just going to keep it real. That's what I seen here. You ain't supposed to run your players in the ground, brother. Knox says he turned Taysom from a gadget into a sledgehammer, and that got Taysom. Yeah, Taysom got hurt badly. If he could have mixed it up, bro, he didn't have to do that to him. If he had Taysom here, he would just run Taysom in the ground. No imagination, no nothing. Nothing. I like this guy. I'm so glad that guy. People say, Q, make him the head coach. Are you crazy? The guy can't adjust. I guess if Dennis Allen could be a head coach, anybody could be. I guess that is. RG says, Carr this season will be, over his shoulder. Yeah, we'll see, bro. I don't know. We'll see how it go. Montreal Seahawks going to have a first-round pick next year. Okay, yeah, they got your boy from Minnesota up there, so that's their problem, family. I warned the Seattle people months ago when they signed that guy. I was like, listen, y'all better keep the pressure on that dude, because that dude is a one-trick pony. Once you figure out what he got going on, it is over. It's over. He don't know how to use his players properly. He don't know how to feed them, play them off of each other. He don't know how the synergy and the chemistry goes, where you can use decoy this player, get this guy going, just get the offense flowing. He just, the first couple of games he had something good, and then the NFL took it away from him, and then he didn't know what the hell to do. That right there showed out like this guy here, man, got a lot to learn. In the NFL, you have to adjust. That's what Sean Payton was really good at, adapting and adjusting. You have to adapt and adjust, because they're going to take away what you do best, and you're going to have to go to the next thing. You got to keep reinventing it. You have to be able to figure out inventive ways to be able to move that football, because they're going to take that away from you or try to take it away from you. And we just could not do anything, baby. So it's interesting. Yeah, LePew, Shane Lemieux, I call him LePew, like Pepe LePew, because he stunk. He was terrible. Them backups were awful last year, fam. I'm just going to keep it real, man. They got paid handsomely to stink. The offensive line coach didn't keep these guys on pace. The guys, they didn't know who they were blocking out there. You can study the tape. These guys didn't know who they were blocking. They didn't know how to block and shed off the blocker to go to the next level to get the linebacker. Running backs was getting piled up in it, or you had to be LaKendre Miller and had to break tackles to get to the second level. It wasn't easy running, because those guys didn't know how to block and shed. They ain't know how you double a defensive lineman, then one guy slides off of him and goes to the next level to get the linebacker, hit him, and then the running back follows him up to the second and hopefully into the third level of the defense. They couldn't even do that. Everything was hard to run against with the Saints last year. And even though they're backups, that don't give you an excuse to stink. You still getting paid handsomely to at least run block. I know some of them struggle with pass blocking, but these guys didn't look like they knew their playbooks. They looked confused. They were out there bumping into each other. I'm like, man, what kind of crap is this? How these guys practice and they come out and look like this? How, what is it? So hopefully this year, not hopefully, I want to see more improved line play. And that's sort of the sticking point is the Saints need better offensive linemen, even as far as the backups are concerned. Your strength will be in your line play. Your offensive line, I know we like Shedeur and all that, but the skilled players won't mean nothing if you can't protect them. You got to have a strong offensive line, especially if Derek Carr is your quarterback. He's not very courage-filled when he's back there. He sees people and a man gets terrified. It's almost like Freddy and Jason and Freddy Krueger and Jason and Michael Myers and the Predator and the alien creature, and all of them running at him at the same time. Man, he just get the buck in the eyes. Woo! I don't know what's going on. That boy got PTSD from the football field. Bobbin says, Q, ask Big Low how many picks do they have in the draft. All right, I will, my brother. We'll be looking out for one of those too. All right, yeah, he be bucking his eyes. Whoa, he'll take it. You better have a strong, I'm telling y'all, man. I'm picking at him, but I'm keeping it real, man. You got to have strong offensive line play if you're the New Orleans Saints, man. We got some good people. I like Tolly. I like Eric McCoy, even though I think he needs more of a meaner temperament. He's too laid back for me. I want to see the Eric McCoy in weeks 1 and weeks 2, and the Eric McCoy that was about to tear Derek Carr in half when Derek Carr told him something and Eric McCoy was going to get him. That's the Eric McCoy I want to see blocking. Y'all remember that? When McCoy was about to go in and your boy saved his life? Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat if y'all remember McCoy was going after Derek Carr in the game. That's the Eric McCoy I want to see play on Sundays. That guy. Ruiz is still need to get better at what he do. We know Trevor Penning is headed in the right direction. The left guard position is still up. We'll see what Dylan Rodgers can do. But if I'm the Saints, I'm looking at improving in the draft with the offensive line and after the draft in terms of undrafted people and as well as the next layers of free agency, offensive linemen, a veteran wide receiver. Remember, the Saints still have $27 million in cap going into, after the draft is over with. We still have a lot of money. We can sign some impact players to help us in our offense, fill up that offensive line with some good people there. We still got money where we can patch some needs after the draft. So that's a good position to be. And we'll go from there. All right. Bobby says, Q, do you think the Falcons pin the donkey in their war room on draft night to see who they select? I don't. Yeah, well, they got the quarterback, they got the running back, they got a decent wide receiver, they got a tight end, they got a decent offensive line. The talking point with Atlanta is that they're looking at help on the defensive side of the ball. I think the Falcons trying to look for a defensive lineman to kind of help them pass rush. That's the talking point. We'll see where they go with it, but that's the thought process that they need help on the defensive side of the ball. They need help pass rushing. So we'll pay attention to that, man. Because we got to watch out for that. See a lot of family members saying one, yes indeed, yes indeed. All right, yeah. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's a tumultuous situation for Derek Carr. I wouldn't have done Derek Carr that. I'm sorry, I wouldn't have done it. If he wanted to leave, I would have let him go. I don't know why Mickey Loomis kept him here. I don't know why he did him that. Because even if they take a quarterback or some kind of way find a quarterback, he will be in his third year. He will have to produce on a high level, and if he's not producing, or like I said, the last couple of years he's been hurt. That's another thing. It's not like he's playing full seasons. He gets hurt The first time he was here, he got busted up several times. In the first year, he was busted up pretty bad. I thought the Saints should have shelved him and let Jameis play, but for whatever reason, Dennis Allen kept it like it was. I don't know why. He came back. The guy just was bucking his eyes. He was that weird play against the Detroit Lions where he literally fumbled the ball underneath the center and then turned and rolled out on what was a pitch to Alvin Kamara to the right side and realized that the ball wasn't in his hand. I was like, who does that? Y'all remember that? And the guy was out of his head. He was shot up on that stuff so much he didn't know what. The guy fumbled the ball at the center, then rolled out like he had the ball in his hand. And then when he got to the pitch point to throw the ball to Elvin, looked in his hand to realize that the ball wasn't there and then pointed at the ball underneath the feet of Eric McCoy, the center, which he was 5 steps away from. You can't make it up. I was like, who does that? Who does that? The man was, and that was the Saints. I was so upset about how they did Derek Carr because that was terribly unsafe. To shoot him up with all that, and you had a veteran backup quarterback that could have played. You didn't have to do that to Derek Carr. Then he was still getting hit and knocked on the ground and bashed and all that kind of stuff. Now I give him credit for that, for playing when it was not, when he should have, but he should, that shouldn't have, the Saints should have shut him down, but that's what a possum-faced loser does. And he got no blame for that except for me and a few of the Who Dats was pointing out, you don't do that, man. That second time around, he got hurt in the next year. You know, he got hurt. One of the famous times he got hurt is he tried to jump over the head of his 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver, trying to make a play, and then you got to know how to land. He didn't know how to land. He went face first into the turf monster, and the turf monster won. He did not win. He tongue-kissed the turf monster, and the turf monster won. You know, he broke himself up pretty good and trying to make a play. Now, I can understand that, but, you know, don't leave your feet unless you know how to land, you know. And, you know. In the end, it just wasn't a good look. The first 2 years have been a disaster for a $150 million man, and I just don't understand why they would do that to him now and then look to take a franchise quarterback that everybody going to be looking at if he struggles. He going to earn it this year. So, like I said, we build that line, man, and get that man a shot, man, because I wouldn't have done that to him. If he wanted to go, I would have let that man go. He don't want to be here. Why are you keeping him here? Yeah. Robert says, yeah, I remember he was full of that dope. I fell out of my chair that day. I watched it on TV, listened to it. Yeah, I remember I called that out. Say, family, did y'all see? I had to replay it. I couldn't believe it. The Detroit game 2 years ago, Derek Carr had the ball and it fumbled the ball. Now, what happened was it was a pull play where the guard, who was the guard? Was it Andrews Pete? I forgot. I think it was Andrews. It was a pull play where he was going to the right. It was a toss play to the right, but it was a play where the guard pulled to the left across him. So when the ball was snapped, Carr had the ball in his hands, and I think it was Andrews Pete, or maybe it was James Hurst. One of those guys moved across him, and their finger inadvertently poked the ball out of his hands. You know, but you could see he must have felt it because he had a good grip on the ball. So he poked the ball out of his hand. When you see that, you're going, uh-oh. You're going to jerk at first and then pull back to where the ball is because the ball's not in your hand. The man turned like he had the ball in his hands to toss it to Elvin and did not stop until he got to the toss point and then looked in his hands and then looked up and pointed at where the ball was, which was under the feet of the center. It was like watching a Madden glitch in real life. The dude literally glitched in real life, and I was like, that's that dope. He was shot up so much so he was out of his mind. I was like, that's wrong to do him that. Really crazy play. Never seen nothing like it, man. That was insane. That play was crazy. I'm like, how did you not? I couldn't make sense of it. It didn't make any. The man literally glitched. It was a Madden glitch moment in real life on some Matrix type stuff going on. Yeah, it was crazy. All right, Corvader says Loomis going to protect Carr. Nah, it's on Kellen. You got to give him his quarterback, bro. I don't think Mickey Loomis is going to get away with it. Yeah, the Turf Monster won. Y'all remember the play? Y'all remember that man jumped? I was like, I gotta give him credit for trying to make a play. But the Turf Monster won that battle that day. That man had to be helped up off the ground. I just didn't like, why would you do? Don't jump. Don't let that be a lesson to our young athletes out there. Never leave your feet unless you know how to land. You know, because the Turf Monster will break your ass up. I just don't understand, man. But in the end, man, I just don't like the fact that I just thought they're setting Derek Carr up for something that's gonna be rough on them. Because the Who Dat Nation is unrelenting, man. We lovable at the same time, but we gonna keep it real with you. That's what we do. Because we don't have time for nothing else. Jaden says, Q, what do you think about Kellen Moore's first play will be for the Saints in 2025? Probably a running play. A handoff to AK-41, baby. A handoff to AK-41, baby, and hopefully, let's say, a toss play to Elvin to the right, to the left side of the line, right behind Tally, and he picks up 5 to 10 yards there. That's what I would like to see, man. Let the first play, Kellen called as a run play in an attempt to set up the play action. You know what I'm talking about, baby? Let's set it up, man. It'll be the first play will be a running play to set up the play action. That's right. That's right. All right. So anyway, man, listen, I'm gonna get on the party. I appreciate y'all letting me talk at y'all, man. Y'all hit the like button for your boy, man. We up in this thing. Appreciate you. Hold on, before I go, did y'all vote in this in the poll? Y'all let me know in the poll if y'all didn't vote. In the poll, man, let me know. We got almost 100 voters there. How many QBs will go in the first round of the 2025 draft? 3 of them says 45% of the Who Dat Nation, 31% says 2 guys, and 21% says 4, 3% says 5 QBs in the first round. So the winner right now is people believe 3 quarterbacks will be taken in the first round. So I imagine it's Cam, Shedeur, and Jackson. Is it Jackson Dart as your 3rd quarterback? Probably so. You know, I don't probably see what you guys are saying there. All right. Also, Omar, shout out to you, man. Says Raider fan. We paid $49 million and traded 3rd round, 4th round. Gino, we got fleece. The draft is a crapshoot. Your guys' problem. Us, you're right. Talk can't block nothing. Okay, thank you, Omar. Well, hey, listen, man. Thank you for this, man. Appreciate you.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
And by the way, Omar, yeah, the Raiders are. I like what you guys are doing over there. Obviously, man. I was advocating for the Saints to interview Pete Carroll. We didn't get around to getting it. The Raiders got a respectable, he's an older coach, but a respectable, resumed Super Bowl coach who's won college-wise in the pros. He has a quarterback that he's familiar with. In the trade for Geno, a lot of people are forgetting, even though Geno has some age on him, remember, early on, Geno didn't play a lot. You see what I'm saying? He kind of rediscovered himself later on. So he didn't remember that he played early on, like, you know, he got a few, his rookies and all that kind of stuff. But there was a period where they kind of relegated him to a backup. You know, you remember them days? And you look at his statistics, you'll see those 9 productive years where he was just backing up. He was just sitting behind people waiting for an opportunity. Then he got the chance, and then he showed that he could play. And ever since then, he's been out on Front Street. So he's not a beat-up quarterback, even though his age is what it is. But like I said, if you check his resume, you'll see that there were years where he wasn't playing a lot because he was pretty much a backup. But when he got the chance to step out there, you see what he can do. So I think that 3rd round pick was a lot, you know, was interesting to give up to get him. But I understand where the Raider Nation is. They want to win right now. And they're tired of all these other guys, the draft picks and all this kind of stuff. They want to win right now. The patience is very low in the Raider Nation. I understand that. So you get Geno Smith, that's respectability at the quarterback position. You get Pete Carroll, he gets the offense that he's familiar with. It's Brock Bowers there, fantastic weapon. You got a few offensive pieces, that's good. You build your offensive line. Rumors is in the draft, y'all looking at Genty, the all-purpose running back, to add that there. Man, things are looking up in the Raider Nation. And boy, did you take a look? Do you guys take a look at that AFC West? The coaches in the AFC West? My goodness. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, and what's the other one? Man, though you got some awesome coaches in that AFC West. Man. Yeah. Isn't that Mike Tomlin there too? I don't know, y'all. No, that's in the North, I want to say. But in the West, yeah, they got some. Oh, and Harbaugh, man, goodness, damn, man, that's some serious coaches in that AFC West, fam. And Pete Carroll just right there with them guys. Them some serious coaches there, man. So, yeah, I got to give y'all credit. Y'all know y'all got to beat all them fantastic. Pete Carroll, it might be a little advanced there, man, but y'all doing the right thing. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you for that super chat. Much love. Appreciate the love. All right, man. English, one last comment there. English said, what kind of coach thinks that the medicated zombie gives us the best chance to win that game? Dennis Allen did. Dennis Allen had all of that. He had all of that, fam. That's why I say, man, fam, listen, when we start talking about the injuries and all that, I know that's something that they often throw out there to us, man, and I understand most people believe that because that's what, you know, they pushing, the machine is pushing that on us because they don't want to tell us the truth, which is the Saints lost because they were not prepared to win. That's the bottom line. The players wasn't prepared. There was no accountability in the building. The coach was off code. He backstabbed his players. He created fractures in his own locker room. And then with players who were used to winning, complained about the bad locker room and the losing, they said to trade them. And Mickey Loomis was the culprit. Mickey Loomis did not say, hold on, and check Dennis Allen. He didn't do none of that. He allowed it to go. He did not chastise Dennis Allen when he threw his team under the bus. He didn't tell him, don't do that. You know, he just did whatever he said he'd do. He's a bad leader. That's why I don't like Mickey Loomis running his team. He's not accountable. He goes in there. He don't even talk to them players. He don't even talk to the players. This is the God honest truth. So when they tell us about the injury thing and all that, I'm quick to buck that because the Pelicans say the same thing. Oh, if it wasn't for injuries, we'd been in the no. How is that when you had the players, you still was losing the games? You had the players, you still was. When you had them, you were losing the games. And you would lose the games. You didn't play a full game. You get blown out in the third quarter. Then you try to sneak back in the fourth quarter, lose by 3 or 4 points. Is that injuries? No. That's coaching. They never want us, because that will point to the fact that they're making bad decisions on who these coaches are. That will point to the fact that they're making bad decisions on who these players are. That'll point to the fact that it will point back at them. So instead of telling the truth, that, hey, man, it was Mickey Loomis' stupid decision to hire ill-equipped, non-accountable coach like Dennis Allen, he'll just blame the injury monster. And by the way, we wouldn't have got him out of here if it wasn't for the family members pressing on Gail to get him up out of here and force him. Dennis, Mickey wouldn't have fired him. You still have Dennis Allen here today, sucking up money and wasting time because they're not serious. So at some point, you got to kind of push the thing along, and we got as much power. Just sitting there being a spectator, you can do that, or you can get involved. You don't have to do nothing, but just not support them and tell them why you're not supporting them. And that's what I did. And it got Dennis Allen's sorry ass out of here, didn't it? So I like to thank y'all for helping get that done, man, because we be facing him this year, having him here. So, yeah, we got to kill that. When they tell that lie about that injury thing, man, like, man, get out of here with that. Charles says, why have we forgotten about Rattler? Shedeur is dependent on his daddy. It's to depend on his daddy. He needs to be on his own. Charles, listen, we haven't forgot about Spencer Rattler, but you got to remember, this is a new coach here. This is not the same coach that picked Spencer Rattler. It's another coach, another offensive coordinator. they have all within their right to pick whoever they believe in the quarterback. Like, I'm pretty sure Spencer Rattler is known by Kellen Moore as a good young quarterback. I'm pretty sure he knows who he is. But at the end of the day, when you are the man and you're getting paid the money and this is your team, you're going to pick your guys and not totally rely on another man's guy, especially if it's Dennis Allen. Not no disrespect to Spencer. I think Spencer's going to be good. But if Spencer is as good as we believe him to be, then let him compete with a quarterback. If the new guy's coming in, let him compete with him. If he's that good, show him up and let him take the job. It's not a knock on Spencer that if you were to draft somebody else, that just means Spencer has somebody else to compete with. Did he not beat down Jake Haener and take Jake Haener's job? And Jake Haener, if they draft another quarterback, Jake Haener more than likely is he might not make it. You know, he's not very good. But in the end, it is what it is. 3 straight years, I wouldn't be surprised like it's 3 straight quarterbacks. Every year was a new offensive coordinator. You got a new head coach now. He's going to move his own personnel in there. And the Shedeur comment is dependent on his daddy. Up to a point that was true because you can't get past the fact that he is Deion Sanders' son, but I think he's done enough in 4 years to establish himself as his own man. He's no longer primetime son. Shedeur Sanders has 4 years of high productivity in college. He has shown these people that he could play the game at a high level, and he's considered by some the best quarterback. Some say the second best quarterback in the draft class. That was all on his own merit. His father could not help him on that field. He might have gave him an opportunity to get there, but once he got there, it was up to Shedeur to prove to the world that he belonged, and he did that. You just have to watch the film on him, brother. He's earned that right. He is to me, and I watched his tape. He has proved it right that he is no longer primetime son. He is Shedeur Sanders, his own man. You know, you just got to watch the tape. All right. Andrew says, who that? From San Antonio. What's up, Andrew? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Shout out to San Antonio, Texas, man. Much love. Appreciate you, bro, for stopping by. All right. Anyway, and Knox says Rattler changed his number to 2 because he knows we getting Shedeur. Show me the money, baby. Show me the money. You want this number, you better show me the money. All right, Jaden says, Q, you see LD tearing it up for the Mavericks tonight, and the fan was saying, fire nice, and the Pelicans have to be fired chicken wings, dumb Willie Green. To David Griffin and DA era was a nightmare. Yeah, David Griffin, man. I don't like David Griffin very much. I'm not going to tell you. English says, missed the show tonight, Q. Catch the next one. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man, for being here nonetheless. All right. Yeah, Slim says, yo, Q, we have to talk boxing again. Indeed, bro. We got some fights coming up this weekend. There'll be another Ring Kings boxing episode coming. I usually do one a week on our channel. So, yeah, be looking out for that, or just go to whothatdaily.com. They got articles that they're writing on some of this stuff. We just see some heavyweight fights that happened this past week with Joe the Juggernaut Joyce versus what was his name? The big guy from overseas. Joe Joyce lost the fight against I forgot the man's name, man. That, and of course they have Rolly Romero coming up against King Rye. That's coming up. That's going to be an entertaining fight. That's 2 power punchers. But Rolly Romero against King Rye. And of course, down the line, you know, Canelo and Bud Crawford, Tank Davis, and the Lamont Roach rematch, all that stuff. We talk about all that on Ring Kings Boxing. Thank you, Slim. All right. Yeah, you mean Fire Nico? Yes. All right, Mad Drummer says, Q, what do you think about Coach Malone being head coach of the Owls? Being head coach of the Owls, of the Pelicans? I like it, man. I think Willie Green in trouble, bro. He should be. I think he should be. Yeah, the Pelicans. I got you, bro. Yeah, Willie Green, man. Hey, man, Willie Green in trouble. I mean, you got not only just Malone, but Taylor Jenkins. I mean, these guys are way up here in Willie Green, like in his 4th year. Really didn't show me any improvement. Once again, this team, and see, this is another thing. The Saints and the Pelicans, any team, your coach has to establish an identity. We have not done it. That's why the Saints were losing outside of all other stuff we talk about. If you don't have an identity, you're not going to do anything. We don't know if we're a running team, a passing team. What are we? What are we doing? The same with the Pelicans. Pelicans supposed to be Willie's a defensive guy. They don't communicate well. They do the switch all thing where they switch players. And I keep saying that's a bad philosophy because if you got a 6'1" Jose Alvarado and he's guarding his point guard at 6'4" and he switches to the off guard may be 6'4", 6'5", whatever. That's one thing. We can deal with that. But if you have a switch off philosophy where Jose Alvarado switches off to the center, who's 7 feet tall and he's down in the paint guarding a 7-foot center, why are you switching? That don't make any sense. But he doesn't address that. It looks all normal. You don't switch into a mismatch that benefits your opponent. That's stupid, man. You can't practice switch all because at some point you're going to switch yourself into a situation that's a mismatch that benefits your adversary. So why are you doing that? Plus, they don't communicate well. When you playing defense, you got to hear these guys out pointing out stuff. They don't communicate to each other. That's what leads to two guys sticking on one guy breaking free through a back cut to the goal for a layup. And it's like stuff that you got to teach. You have to communicate. You got to communicate on a basketball court. If you on offense, or especially on defense, you have to communicate. These guys are not talking. They're not talking like that. You see a lot of breakdowns. You see a lot of wide open 3-point shots. People are not communicating. It's just repugnant. The free throws, the fundamentals of it, like the free throw attempts, it's just 4 years, man. And even if you dealing with stuff you're dealing with, you lost a few players here or there, you still have enough talent to be able to pull out some of these wins. Even with some of the close games down the stretch that we've seen the last couple of games, we were able to see them having opportunities to still win the games, and then defense, they just make poor shots. The man got a philosophy like we're going to take 40 shots a night. Never mind that more than half of them will be bad shots, meaning you just shooting the ball up just to get to 40. Who does that? What do you think we are, the Golden State Warriors? Why are we playing like this? You don't have the personnel, and then he does weird things. When they got an offensive flow, then he pulls out the offensive player, put defensive players who have minimal ability to score the ball like the offensive counterparts do. Why would you do that? He doesn't have a good flow. He doesn't have a good feel for his game. His adjustments are bad. I can go on and on. We do this. We watch this stuff all the time with the guy. And I'm just sick of it, man. We need a smart coach that understands what he has and how to put that philosophy to the team, teach it thoroughly, and have the accountability and the discipline to make it stick. That's what we need. I say it a lot, but that's the God honest truth, fam. This ain't they'll take David Griffin and these guys will say, well, injuries, this, that, and the third. Man, Willie Green is not a good coach. He's not a good head coach. He's a good assistant coach, but he's not a head coach. He gets thoroughly outcoached by his counterparts damn near every night. It is not a good thing. It's not a good feeling, man. It's not good to sit up here and watch him not fuss at people when you see Zion Williamson get knocked on his ass and Zion gets hurt. And people he think he just comes to the building, to the stadium hurt already. He gets hurt in the game because he's getting beat up on. Willie Green stands there with that big ass nose and his arms folded and he don't do nothing about it. The Pelicans don't complain to the league about how they officiate in Zion Williamson. Willie Green he needs to get, if he has to get thrown out every night to complain about how they're beating up on Zion Williamson, then do it. What else the hell are you gonna do? You gotta protect your players. But he said that he ain't gonna get me in trouble. I'm gonna keep my little old money in my pocket. And I'm like, this guy's so stupid. He don't realize that if you fight for the players will fight for you. Don't you understand? Zion and them will pay your fines. They ain't gonna leave you out in the dry like that and you fighting for them. Man, get out of here, man. Take his ass back to wherever you come from, man. We need a real coach that demands that, because a real coach that care about their players wouldn't say something as asinine as I'm keeping my money in my pocket. No, protect your players. Zion getting beat up out there. He gets knocked down all the time and they don't call the foul. And people look at Zion hurt again. Zion and all these idiots on ESPN getting up here talking about Zion Williamson hurt and all this. He hurt again, but never mention anything about him getting hurt on plays where the officials don't even call the foul on him. Getting knocked to the ground. I see it all the time when he plays. Never mentions it at all. Never mentions it. I was like, see, these idiots and chumps and morons, they don't watch the Pelicans. They don't watch that. Protect your players, man. Yeah, he gets fake angry, Wyo. That's right. He gets fake angry. He does that. This Pelicans get hammered by 45. He gets up there and tells people that he's proud of the team. I'm like, what? Bro, that's what we dealing with these people. I'm just sick of them, man. How are you a VP of any team and you don't see that guy is not advancing as a head coach? This is a business. This don't have nothing to do with emotion. This don't have nothing to do. This is a win and loss business. Basketball, professional basketball, and football. This has nothing to do with personal feelings. If you like the guy, that's cool. But it's based on him winning and losing. And if the team doesn't have an identity and they're not moving in the place that you need them to be, you have to make a change, especially when they have more credible, credentialed, resume coaches that are available that got fired and they were winning. How did you fire Malone from the Nuggets, and they just won a championship 2 years ago? He's out there. How do you fire Taylor Jenkins, and both of the men that got fired over the last 2 weeks are guys that were their all-time franchise winners in games won. They're both available. You gonna hold on to Willie Green? No, I don't think so. Willie Green got to go. He got to go. And if he can't go, David Griffin, you go too. We got to start winning. We got to gain respectability. All right, so anyway, man, with that being said, we're going to get ready. Yeah, we talk about this on Pelican Post-Game Report. Me and DC, shout out to my dog, DC. We covered the quarter, the waterfront on all that, man. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. Yeah, do me a service. Y'all hit the like button. Yeah, Knox says, Willie, give them credit. They really hacked it. You know what, put my star player tonight, but I didn't do anything but clap slowly. I'm saying, fam, everybody see it. It's crazy. Like, dude, protect your player. Zion Williamson, they go after him all, they attack him, beat up on him, knock him down. Protect your player. Go to bat for him. That's how you earn their respect, man. You got to fight for people. You stand up for people. Willie Green don't know nothing about that, man. He's a company man, man. It's a company man. He don't know nothing about that. All right, so anyway, man, listen, do me a service, family. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Feel free also to show our supporters some love, Mint Mobile, Teach Henley, and Bet Online. The link is in the description section below. Y'all check them out. Also, check out our merch and all that other stuff is available in the chat. Listen, fam, I'm going to be back, what today is? Wednesday, I'll be back on our, Friday stream, man. We'll cover more news, but listen, man, a lot of hype going on right now with the Shedeur thing, and I'm really happy that the Saints are looking at improving the quarterback play. Just to be honest with you, I'm really happy about that. I'm not going to tell you no lie. Looking at a franchise quarterback is very positive news. Also, they can go anywhere. This draft is going to be really interesting. So with that being said, man, I'm going to get ready to get – Jaden says, Q, which era has been worse, Dennis Allen or Willie? Which era is worse? Oh, definitely Dennis Allen's era was worse. Dennis Allen era was a complete and utter waste of time, man. That's all I have to say, Dennis Allen on that one. Jaden. All right, so with that, I'm out, man. I'm going to holler at y'all on this one. Y'all have a good rest of y'all week, and I'll see you on the Friday stream, baby. Hit that like button. I'm going to holler at you. Hit the comment section as well. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah. Like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that at. Where we do that at. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that at. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this, and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that at. Where we do that at. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that at. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the WRO Media Network.
Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that?
Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to NHL and UFC. Bet Online continues to be your number one sports betting source for every three-pointer to hat trick. Bet Online has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. Bet Online, the game starts here.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat, you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who Dat too.